Hello friends, we are back in Learning with Mr. E. In this video, I'll talk about Economic 101. There are 5 topics that we are gonna talk about. First is needs and wants. Second is scarcity. The third is economic action. The fourth is economic motives. And the fifth is economic principles. Okay, the first one we are gonna discuss is about needs and wants. Well, the needs versus the wants. First, we're gonna need to find out what we need to know about needs and wants. Because if you can differ between needs and wants, it will be easier to sort what actually you need and what actually you want, and it will be more efficient for your life to prior which actually you have to fulfill first in your life, because there are a lot of things that you have to purchase, but the thing is which one that you have to prior, that is important. And so right now we are trying to comprehend between the needs and wants. The first is about the needs. Needs is about something that we need in our life to survive. It is not necessarily everything that we usually use in daily life, but it is something that actually the basic things that we need for us to have a life or survive. And the difference between needs and wants is the wants is not about something that you need in surviving, but something that something that can make you happy, can make you feel actualized, and of course can make your life easier. So wants is not that basic needs that we have and that we need every day. And I guess we can already conclude that we just need to fulfill the very basic and important things in our life, which is the needs itself. If we have a lot of limited resources around us and if we look for something to prior. And let's get to the example of what we need and what we want. Needs is something that we have to fulfill in our life for the very basic things. They are of course the foods, clothes, shelter, and of course the education. Some people consider education is not included in the needs. Well, absolutely I can promote education to the needs because it's also the very basic thing that you need in your life. That doesn't mean it's formal education, which if you don't have any then you will die, but then it's education in the broad meaning that you can have and you can access in a lot of way right now. And what about the wants? Let's get to the example of what we want. What we want is something like a cell phone and the television and car or any vehicle. Another example is something like you actually really want it, but you can actually still live without it. Well, this is not really basic things in your life, but if you don't have it, it seems like you're not happy. You drive yourself not happy without it. Well, that, guys, are wants. So have to know the difference between the needs and the wants. But I have a really simple question and a really simple thing that you have to solve if you have already understood the needs and the wants. Are you ready? Now, let's find out which one is this thing included on. Is it the needs or the wants? It's pizza. What do you think? Is pizza needs or wants? If you are thinking that pizza is a food and you need the pizza, well, actually you almost getting to it. But then again, pizza is the luxurious food. I mean, it can be the food that you want, and it's not specifically the food that you need to fulfill your need, to fulfill your tummy, and then you get better and you can survive in your life. it's not always pizza, right? It can be other thing. It can be rice, it can be other food that you usually eat every day in your life. So pizza is actually not what you need, but perhaps pizza is what you want. Just because you actually right now want some pizza, that doesn't mean pizza is in the food and the food is all that you need, which is pizza itself. No, it's not always pizza.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Alright, the second thing that I want to discuss with you is about the scarcity. Have you heard about scarcity? Scarcity also one basic term in economic. Scarcity is actually a situation which requires people to make decisions about how to allocate resource efficiently in order to satisfy basic needs and as many additional wants as possible. Some people really have a lot of needs and a lot of wants compared to other people. Well, let's understand this scarcity concept by example. Example, when you have no rice. Wow.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.
For Indonesian people or some Asian people around, having no rice at home or having no rice to eat is a very nightmare, right? You have to find out how for you to get some rice to eat. Oh my god. So imagine that the rice is scarce, so it's hard to find some rice around. Then maybe you can think about how to get some carbo source for me and for my family if there is no rice. So when this thing happens, it's called scarcity, and you have to find out some way to be the solution for your life. It doesn't mean that if you don't have rice then the life is over. No, not at all, of course. But you have to think about some solution. That probably many things. I can think of something like you can eat less rice and combine with other foods, or maybe some other foods with what you have more in the fridge or at home. Some leftover, maybe that is just to survive. And perhaps you have also think of substituting the rice itself into something else, like pizza, maybe the pizza. Let's say you don't have any rice. Our case is no rice, right? That doesn't mean you have no pizza. Perhaps you have some leftover pizza in the fridge. You want to take it? Fine. That is the solution for the scarcity. Or some other things like you are trying to fulfill the needs of the rice by finding any way to have more rice where possible. Maybe you can buy it. Well, that if you have money, right? We are talking about no rice, not money, no money, I mean. So if you have money, you can just buy rice. That's all. Alright, now other case beside the rice, maybe I can give or something for comparison. When people doesn't have money, people will think of a way if they don't have any money. But what way that fit to some people might be different. Okay, so this scarcity will produce to something that later we call economic action. Economic action is the action human beings do to fulfill their wants or their needs. Examples before, there are some actions that people do to try to fulfill what they need or what they want. But some action could be rational and irrational, and that defines two main group of the economic action: rational and irrational. Rational economic action is an action based on what is more profitable. Therefore, rational economic action is usually to obtain a maximum satisfaction. For example, if you have something that you sell to gain some profit and you use some effort to get even more profit, that is rational economic action, because you know that action is profitable, so you do it. That is rational economic action. And the other way is irrational economic action. The irrational economic action is an action carried out by every human being which they think will be profitable, but the end of the result actually is not really profitable. A person who acts irrationally usually doesn't consider the factors, costs, time, and energy being harmed. There are those who immediately take irrational action without thinking at first. Things like that usually cost them. Like the example, stealing some rice to fulfill the needs. Well, that is irrational economic action because there are a lot of ways to get some solution for these needs. That you don't really have to steal it. But if you take one action which is irrational, you know that it is actually not profitable for you and cause you harm. Maybe not really in the short term, but maybe in the long term. You can get some punishment from the society or maybe from the law enforcement. That is the not profitable consequence that you will get if you take the irrational economic action. But perhaps you also think, what makes people do the irrational economic action after all if you know that it's not really profitable for you, right? Well, that's called economic motive. Some people really do the economic action positively and rationally, but some other people may not really think about the profit, and they just look for any shortcut or any way that they can find to get what they think will be profitable, but actually it's not. There are something behind this action that people think it will get profit. Yeah, you know. So the economic motives are all the things that underlie economic action. In a general sense, the economic motive is the motivation that makes someone take the economic action. We talked about it earlier. The motive can be extrinsic, can be intrinsic. The meaning of the extrinsic in the case is driving motivation that come from outside oneself. Meanwhile, the intrinsic, of course, is the one that comes from within the individual. I'll give you an example for the intrinsics. When a father decided to buy cloth mask for their family in the pandemic because he thinks it's more efficient and that rather just disposable masks. That is the intrinsic economic motive, because the father himself think about a solution for him, for the family, so he decided to take the action. Well, if you compare with other case, I give you an example when extrinsic economic motive happened. This father, the same father, are asked by the daughter to buy the cute designed cloth masks, like maybe the LOL design or princess design or anything, and then the father decided to buy them for the beloved daughters. Well, this is an extrinsic economic motive, because the motive to do the action is actually not from the father himself, but from the daughter who asked him to do the action. There are at least 5 economic motives that I can share here. The first is the motive to meet life needs, the very basic motive that people do most commonly in their daily life. The second one is the motive for profit. This is most likely for all of the entrepreneur that they decide to start the business, or the businessman. The main purpose of this motive is to get a lot of profit. That actually most of the businessmen think about, right? So this is one of the economic motive from the businessman side. The third motive is the motive to get awards or appreciation. Some people do the economic action because they want to get appreciated by society, or they want to get some award. I give you example when some person try to enroll some great college, and they try to get some good grade, and so they will be appreciated and respected by society. That is one motive to do some economic action to upgrade himself to be some better quality. The other economic motives is the motives of power. When you do the economic action because actually you are aiming for to get some power to do something. This can be businessman from the businessman side or from the friendship or community manner. That can be some action that someone do to get some position in the community. The fifth is this social motive. For some people doing economic action, they have a social motive behind the action. It is like they want to share or they want to do something willingly, which is good for some other people. For example, when you buy something and then you share to other people, that will be in the social motive. The sixth is production motives of goods and service. Of course, this is the very basic motive. When someone try to start the business, they start to make something, they start to produce something, can be goods, can be service for their business. For their business, they start to find what do people need, and they will make it and they will sell it for the sake of the people's needs. So they try to be the bridge for what people needs, and they will produce it. What am I talking about? And the last one, the motive to maintain company continuity. Some people do the economic action, try to find out what is the best work for their company. And so they try to find the innovation and cooperate with many other companies to try to maintain the price, maintain the production quality. And so this is the motive of the maintaining company quantity. Okay, we talk about the motive, we talk about the action, and now this is the principle, the economic principle. If you're trying to find yourself about the economic principles on the internet, you may find at least 10 of them on the internet. But I just want to underline one thing. Some old conventional understanding giving the principle of when people provide the least capital and resource to earn the best and most profit possibly earned is the economic principles back then when I was a child studying at school. Well, this was the old principle which interpreted wrongly by many people, and I want to get something straight here. Well, the old principle then develop and teach people to be really picky and stingy to share something, and they're really careful to invest, they're really careful to do the economic action. Well, I can give you one formula about the economic principle that may be easier for you to think. It is investment plus effort plus knowledge plus strategy equal to profit. Well, that can be the least formula that I share, because there are a lot of other aspects that actually required when you think that you want to get some profit in the economic basis. But for sure, investment, effort, knowledge, strategy, and profit themselves are linear. So it means if you want to get more profit, you have to consider increasing on the investment, or maybe the effort, or maybe the strategy to be better. Okay friends, that's all I can share for now about the Economic 101. If you want to know about the other topic, make sure you stay tuned on this channel. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, and drop your comment below to get more interesting topic. Mystery signing out for now. Bye.